Here's the truth about Congress's budget games, straight from Senator John Kennedy's opening statement on the fiscal year 2025 appropriations bills. If you're tired of spin, you're in the right place. First, Kennedy starts with gratitude. He shines a light on the behind-the-scenes staff, the unsung heroes who make Congress run. He says, maybe now they'll be sung heroes. It's a rare moment of warmth from the Senate floor, and a reminder that real people do the heavy lifting. But Kennedy doesn't linger. He gets blunt. This is not a bad bill, but it could be better. He applauds stronger defense funding, from nuclear weapons to cruise missiles, but points out that some so-called defense spending is really about cleaning up radioactive messes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Murray, I have enjoyed working with you. I want to read some names. Lindsey Garcia, Anna Newton, Katie Williams, Rachel Littleton, Doug Clapp, Aaron Goldner, Laura Powell, Maria Calderon, and Amanda Wema Brett. Those are the members of our staff on both sides of the aisle, and they worked very hard, and I want to thank them. They're kind of unsung heroes, so I don't know, maybe now they'll be sung heroes. This is not a bad bill. Could be better. We're spending more money on defense, in particular our plutonium pit production, our nation's weapon systems, the nuclear-armed sea-launched cruise missile. My biggest disappointment, as you know, and I don't want to overstate it, the world's not going to spin off its axis, but we've got more work to do.
Kennedy says, let's call it what it is. Environmental spending, not defense. If you value plain talk, hit that subscribe button right now. Then, Kennedy takes aim at Congress's own process. He says, voting on these bills before agreeing to the real spending numbers is just play acting. It's all for show, until the hard negotiations happen. He calls out leaders on both sides, especially Senator Schumer, and says the American people deserve real, honest debate.
As you know, a big portion of the energy and water development bill is defense. And so how we define defense matters. We also have a problem in our country with nuclear contamination, many sites. And that's an environmental concern. Technically, it's defense, but to me, it's more environmental. And we obviously have to address those. Senator Murray and I disagree over whether that is a defense expenditure or a non-defense expenditure. I think it's non-defense. I think when we call it defense, this is my point of view, and only my point of view, when we call it defense, we give the impression to our constituents and taxpayers that we're spending money on defense when we're really not. But as we all know, this bill has a long way to go. I applaud our efforts here. I support them. I think I voted for all the bills. I think we all recognize to a large extent this is play acting. At some point, we're going to have to reach agreement on 302B allocations. I know we've taken a vote. It was a purely partisan vote. I'd like to see us sit down and negotiate that. And we also have got to convince Senator Schumer, my friend Senator Schumer, to bring the bills to the floor. And we've got to talk to our House members. So we've got a long way to go.
Next up, taxes and debt. Kennedy wants Congress to ask what worked and what didn't. If it worked, order a dozen. If not, scrap it. But here's the kicker. He warns, if we keep spending like this, we're going to run out of digits. That's not a joke. That's a warning. And when it comes to defense, Kennedy pulls no punches. We have to spend more, or I'll have to learn Mandarin at my age. National security isn't a talking point, it's survival. But he's tired of Congress slapping emergency on everything just to spend more. It's time for truth and real priorities.
Final point. We are starting to discuss extending the cuts in the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, and that's a discussion we need to have. To me, the way we ought to start is taking a look at what worked and what didn't work. And if it worked, we ought to do it again. We ought to order a dozen. If it didn't work, we shouldn't do it. But we're not going to be able to do that in a vacuum. We all know we have to spend more money on defense. We just do. I don't want to have to learn Mandarin at my age. We've got to spend more money on defense. We cannot ignore the fact, I don't want to get into whose fault it is, that we're running deficits. And those deficits become debt. And if we keep going at the rate we're going to run out of digits. So sooner or later, we're going to have to take a look at our budget. And I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm a part of it. But we got to stop creating exceptions and emergencies that aren't really emergencies and really sit down and have a frank discussion how we're going to balance all these competing interests. And maybe the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act issue will be the propellant that we need. And that's just one person's point of view, but I bet Tester agrees with. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy.
So what's Kennedy's bottom line? America can't keep spending money it doesn't have mass. Not for politics, not for excuses. He's not blaming people, he's calling out a broken system. If you're with me and want more no-nonsense truth from Capitol Hill, subscribe to Capitol Conservatives.